Welcome to Faith Over Breakfast. You are listening to a podcast by Pastor Eric Deepen and Pastor Andy Littleton. If you enjoy Faith Over Breakfast, we encourage you to rate it on the Apple Podcast app, on Spotify, or Google Play. Thank you and enjoy the podcast. Welcome to Faith Over Breakfast. My name is Eric and I'm pastor of the Village Church. And across from me is Andy, one of the pastors at Mission Church in Tucson, Arizona. And
hello.
Our churches are further apart from each other distance-wise than you and I live.
Yeah, that's right.
And so that's a funny thing.
Yeah.
And we've been doing this podcast for 250 plus episodes, I think. And we've done a lot of episodes over a lot of years. And we've talked about a lot of things.
That's right.
And we still seem to have something to talk about.
There's always something. Always something.
This week we answer Corey Gilchrist's question. If we found out during our church service that Jesus was back, so we weren't sure if Jesus is back
in the service or just in general.
In general. So we answered them both, and we tried to interpret, as good pastors, what the text actually was telling us.
And as is often the case, the conversation gets better as it goes.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
Yeah, thank you. Hello, Andy.
Hey.
It's been a while.
It's been a little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah,
People are like, does this podcast exist anymore? Actually, we've been doing pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. I think we've got 50 episodes in a year, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's fine.
Oh, yeah. I'm talking to you
that's
about
more
headphones.
than
I'm like,
some.
why does this sound weird?
It's more than some years.
There you are.
There he is. Yeah. And, it's the last few weeks, it's been either me saying, yeah, I can't, or you saying you can't. And then today I thought, this is your fallow month. So
It is my fallow month.
But if I remember previous years correctly, usually during fallow month, you still want to do the podcast, even though I think you've used it to say no before.
Yeah.
Fallow month for you is it's a card you can play.
It is a card, which is totally how it's designed.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'd like fallow life.
Fallow life.
Where I can just say, I'm taking fallow life right now, so
well,
I can't do that.
You know how coffee shops have like the punch cards? Where you can get a free coffee after 10 purchases. I was thinking about the fallow month punch card where it's a no card. And every time you say no to something, you punch it.
But you get a month's worth of that, so you could stretch the concept of fallow month.
And then you give yourself a dessert.
Yeah. If you don't know what fallow month is, at the Village in December, they really strip things down and don't do much. And we don't declare that officially, but I have been inspired by it. So we have also said we're not doing any events in December or anything. There's so much going on.
There is, and yes, it's fun to see your kids do stuff and watch the plays and stuff. But there's just so great productions in bigger churches, and if you really just want to go enjoy something fun,
go let them be busy.
Let them be busy. Yeah. Their calling might be to be busy.
Yeah.
That's just not ours.
It's not. Yeah.
and I wrote our members this month because we send out a monthly like membership update. Here's the finances, blah blah blah, and I told them like, yeah, I get it. Like the fallow month is more for the pastors.
Oh,
I mean, it is for them too, because there are some meetings that they're not going to be part of.
Right.
And we're inviting them to practice resting. But a lot of times it's just like, it is catching up on administrative things, doing things I wouldn't have time to do. Like we completely overhauled our website.
Oh,
it's
okay.
completely different now.
Wow.
And I did most of that. So I've just been doing tons of design and change, and
nice.
It looks pretty sweet now.
Nice.
So I'm pretty excited about it.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah. So that's a fallow month. So going into the new year, we have like a new little front door of our community.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. Great. Well, we.
I don't feel like you're that interested in that. Yep. Great. Moving on. Okay. I just want to create a little tension in this.
How do I say you're right without making it seem like I don't care about my friend?
Anyway, moving on.
Eric, I'm really glad you have a new website.
Yeah, thanks.
That's great. I I generally, you know what? Here's the thing. My care about our digital engagement has absolutely plummeted lately.
Yeah.
And
I understand that.
That's an interesting, I've been curious about it myself. I have just lately just been like, I don't care anymore. Yeah. And I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, and I wouldn't say that I cared that much either until I had this moment where God told me some stuff.
Yeah.
And I checked it out with Mark and then a bunch of other people, and everyone was like, yeah, like that's a direction and this is the first step. So
cool.
Anyway, that's
great.
That's how we care. But anyway, we're going to move on because we had a question from what we would probably call our most avid question asking fan of Faith Over Breakfast, Corey Gilchrist. And this is a unique question that I don't know if I've ever really thought about.
No, I haven't. So do you want to? Are you going to read it or rephrase it?
Oh, let's just basically, the basic gist of it is it's for, let's say it's 4:59. And into the little mic that you always have in your ear because you're a big church, massive, and the sound guy says, "Hey Andy, we just heard Jesus is actually back and walking the earth."
Yeah.
And we know it's verifiable. This is not fake news. And what do you tell your congregation to do?
My first thought is I would say,
where's my earpiece? I don't have an earpiece.
Yeah. The first thing I would say would be, that's hilarious. So where's my coffee? Then after they said, no, really seriously, and somehow convinced me that was happening, I would say, great. Okay. Well, I will cede all authority now to him.
Yeah.
So just go ahead and do whatever. And I'd be just really curious how he utterly dismantled our church in front of my very eyes.
Yeah. So if we take it with this idea that Jesus is, he's basically walking down Grant and I don't know, let's say Alvernon. That's a good spot for him.
A lot of construction there at the moment.
Yeah, he's contemplating the construction. He's just walking.
Okay. This is different than at your church now. You're switching it up on me.
Well, no, I mean, he says he's back. It didn't say he's arrived at your church. I thought
it said he arrived at your church.
Oh,
he was at your church. How would people respond? This is why maybe we should read old Corey's question.
All right, Corey. We're gonna verify your exact question so we can answer it correctly. Okay, here we go. Corey Gilchrist question. If somehow we found out that Jesus was back and it was during your church service, how would you instruct your congregation to respond in that moment? So
I'm a little unclear,
This is
Corey.
a little bit like the Psalms or the Proverbs. We have to try to interpret the
is he just back
author.
Or is he at the church service?
I guess we're going to have to talk about both of those.
And when Jesus comes back, will he be at one place? Or what is the return of Christ? Is it visible to the whole spherical planet? How does that work? If it's a bodily return, how does every eye see him? Corey, you have unexpectedly opened Pandora's box.
He has. But let's just say, for sake of Corey's question, that he decides to come back in a very interesting way. And he's going to explain to us the prophetic words of Revelation and how he fulfilled those. But he comes back and he's walking on Alvernon and Grant.
But somehow everybody in Uzbekistan can see him.
But that's how we all know.
Okay.
Let's just say he's walking on, whatever streets are equivalent to Grant and Alvernon in Uzbekistan also at the same time.
I know those streets.
You do?
Yeah, very well. Yeah.
They're probably better.
Almost anything's better than current Grant.
Okay, so what do you say? Go for it now.
I would say, don't worry about your Christmas shopping. I would say, what would I say? I don't know. I think I'm done at that point. That is where I'm officially done. I'm retired. I'm done. I'm out.
I'm out. Tapping out.
I'm out. Yeah.
Oh man, I think
I would. Yeah.
I'd be like, all right, guys, go get your children. We're gonna drive orderly out of this parking lot.
Oh, okay.
And then we're headed to Alvernon and Grant.
Okay.
To go see Jesus.
Okay.
But I want to do it safely. Let's not,
Yeah.
Let's do it in an orderly fashion.
In an orderly. Eric's emphasizing orderliness at this point. Okay. What do you think? You know Corey.
Yeah.
I know Corey a little. You know Corey a lot. What is Corey hoping for in this question? What is the core question under this question? What is the how would we respond to, is he imagining what we see in the scripture of here's Jesus in the midst and how people are responding to him? How would we encourage people to respond to the act? Or because I don't think he's talking about the return of Christ.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's I think if you knew that Jesus was here and he was walking around and he was back, but the way that he wanted to implement his kingdom was kind of in this very personal, relational way, what would you instruct your community to do? And it may be, and I don't know, linked to the idea that he is back in the sense of he sent his spirit. And so the question is, does it, and in some sense, change what you're instructing your people to do?
Right. And I have a feeling that's a little more what Corey's getting at, because another way of phrasing it would be, so we're used to saying 2,000 plus years ago, Jesus became incarnate in the creation and actually walked this earth for 33 years.
Right.
But imagine if that time was now. If actually we were in that moment, or it was in our modern moment, and Jesus had, instead of showing up to Bethlehem and then Egypt and then Nazareth, if he had showed up here,
sure,
and we somehow got it, we had been at his baptism and heard the voice from heaven,
right?
This is my son, listen to him, and we had to care for people, and we had the responsibility to say to people, you need to listen to this. You need to respond to this. How would we suggest that they live different, prioritize their life, respond? Would we say to them, hey, there's an interesting guy in town, but if you have time, if you're not on a vacation, if you don't have family in town, then check it out? Or would we say, nothing else matters but being near Jesus? And then if we would say that if he were here, how does that change what we should say, since the Spirit is here and we believe that Jesus is real?
Yes. I think that might be what he's asking.
I think it might be.
But he probably wanted us to play with it a little bit.
Yeah.
He can tell us in another question.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's what he's going at. And it makes me think about, while you're talking, like, I think there's always this tension that I'm playing out in my own life, and then in what I might be inviting my community into is, it seems within the New Testament that there are two tensions that we're invited into. One is to be a people who are witnesses to Judea and the ends of the earth, and at the same time to live a quiet life that doesn't create disruption within society, in order that we might have an effective witness.
Right.
So you have these witnessing to there being a new king who is always up and against the value systems, usually of the empire. For us, it's capitalism and democracy and republic, and power here in the United States. So the witness in selfishness and greed, like, our witness is against that and a new way and a different way of living, and we're trying to at the same time be in the world but extract ourselves. So it's hard to live a quiet life
Right.
and at the same time be a witness.
Yeah.
So those two things you're trying to work out as a person and as a community. And I think what I have found is that a lot of times it is really easy for me and for my community to find ourselves enjoying is a bad word, really buying more into the present kingdom and not into the urgency of the kingdom that is here and is coming. And so I think that I think what Corey's getting at is do we need to bring people
more urgency?
Mm-hmm. And what would more urgency look like in our lives in order to lead that?
Yeah, it's a great, I mean, that is a great question. I think I wrestle with it too. I was thinking, this is slightly off, but the text I'm preparing for on Sunday, we're finishing Acts while also doing Christmas. And so I was thinking about Paul is arrested in Jerusalem, and to me it's clear, not just to me, to many, it's clear that this scene alludes back to two other scenes, and that one of them is Stephen, the martyrdom of Stephen. It's similar. Of course, that's where Paul's story started for us in the book of Acts. And Paul even alludes to Stephen, so it seems pretty evident. And then the other scene that it is similar to is Jesus, that Paul is getting arrested in Jerusalem. The very religious people that he embraced and represented are now yelling out for his death, just like they did Jesus's. And he's being handed over to Rome. And I was struck by those similarities, and then a big difference jumped at me, where I noticed one of the big differences was that Jesus didn't defend himself. He didn't make an argument. He like a sheep, before the shears, was silent. He opened not his mouth, kind of thing. Paul argues and uses political maneuvering and, says, I'm a Roman citizen. Are you really going to beat a Roman citizen? He opens his mouth a lot. Now, the two things that made me think about were, one, there was something unique happening when Jesus walked the earth. He was here on a very specific mission. And there are to be parallels between us and what Jesus did. But then there are differences in what it means to bear witness to him after his ascension. For instance, Paul is not the sin bearer for the people in the crowd.
Right.
He is now one of them.
Right.
He's a former persecutor. But he's arguing his case. He's not there to bear their guilt and shame.
That makes sense.
He's a citizen, and he's arguing for the rights of his citizenship. It's different. So that's the interesting piece, is to imagine, we were in the time of Jesus. Is there a uniqueness to that time? And what does it mean to be in this long period, the in-between of our waiting, as I've heard it described? Yeah, it's hard to be urgent for thousands of years. There is an urgency because Jesus is coming for everyone.
Right.
Like, you will die. Life is short. There is an urgency. But also, it's that urgency can go off the rails when everything is like, and that happened. Jesus is coming back tomorrow. There's a big world event. Something's going on in Israel. Hurry. That can be manipulated. Anyway, all those things are crossing my mind.
Yeah.
So it's I like this brainstorm, and I do think we get very complacent, and I think we forget that Jesus is with us. But even when Jesus was on earth and walking around, it wasn't hurry, was it? I mean, I don't hear. That's not he almost he just didn't. There were some, follow me, but also, in a way, I wonder if people got kind of bored with him walking and telling a parable about a bird in a field. I wonder if people thought he wasn't urgent enough sometimes.
Oh, I know that. I'm sure it's in the text.
Yeah. So that
you suspect that some of Judas's frustration and the misunderstandings that Peter and others have about his goals
let's go, let's do this.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely have seen enough where they think, okay, this guy's pretty powerful and whatever he wants to do can happen. So what's happening?
So let's get this ball rolling here. Yeah.
Yeah. No. And he obviously has a different agenda and a different calling than that.
Yeah. So I have to assume, by the way, that in Corey's question, I'm one of the disciples. My way of telling people how to respond to Jesus is very suspect to my own inklings about what's most important. And I would expect Jesus to say, well, tell Andy, thanks for sending you over. We're going to be doing something else now.
Go back to Andy and continue doing what you were doing.
Eric, thanks for that orderly exit of your church. Now we're going to actually do something else.
Go back to your church. Yeah. I've been thinking about this sociological concept that's, it's pretty well established that you can only know, and when I mean know is be familiar with 125 people, right? Before it becomes it can't even, you just aren't familiar with them.
Sure.
But when you begin to work that down, you can only actually truly be intimate in relationship with 10. And then have a friendship with another 15. So you have that's 25. Yeah. So you can have 25 people that you're engaged in on a regular basis. There's an intimacy right there. Then, then you've got floating around that another 50 to 75. So if you can imagine you've got your 25 on an island, the other 50 to 75 people are sailing around that island. And as soon as one of those people drop out of intimacy, which happens, someone else pops in. Right. And so I say all that because I think when I think about witness and mission and living out my life, I'm called to that. The first question I have to ask when following Jesus is, what is my relationship with Jesus and these 10 people look like?
Right.
And in a witnessing sense and a proclaiming of the kingdom. And then what does it look like to that other 15?
Yeah.
And really, before I can say what does it look like to the other 100 or so that I could probably be engaged with, I'm familiar. And what I mean by I'm familiar with Nicole at the grocery store who checks me out regularly. Not check me out, but checks out my food for me. Right?
This took a whole different turn.
Yeah, it took a whole different turn. I know her. I know a little bit about her life. I even pray for her, but I'm familiar with her. I don't know what she does outside of this little rectangle. I've never seen her outside of the rectangle. So she lives in the rectangle in my mind.
Yeah.
And I think that's so some of it is for me is okay, well, how much am I engaging these people with Jesus and proclaiming the kingdom in their life? Because I think sometimes familiarity breeds kind of an apathy.
Sure.
It allows me to have maybe even some contempt for those who are even closest to me.
Yeah.
And so when I think about even the concept of going to the ends of the earth, being commissioned, in Matthew 28 and Acts 1:8, these commissions to the apostles, and I think I'm included in those at some level. I think it has to start with them and be really intentional with them, and then it will spill out on the other spaces. So I think when I think of Jesus back, okay, that is a weird concept because he didn't come down and call us all to himself. Okay, so it's a different story. I mean, because if that were true and he's back, he's wandering and he's teaching, I would probably just go out and find as many people as I could. I mean, I would say, we got to go hear this guy talk. Like,
yeah,
I want to hear him talk. I want to be around him.
Yeah.
So, but I think what Corey's getting at is that kind of sense of things inside my relationship with you, with my wife, with my kids, with my brother, with my, with some of my close friends, with some neighbors. Like, do I have that sense of urgency?
Or even the reality of Jesus. I mean, at Christmas, it feels like one of the hardest times to me to embrace the reality of Jesus, and it is and it isn't. I mean, all of a sudden it's like all the songs, and every church is gonna think about having guests, and it's culturally a thing, but it also feels like the time when it just gets most muddled, that it just seems most obvious that really the agenda of all of us is to get the gifts purchased and the travel planned. That's really what we're going to do. Right? Like, or even the event, like if you're in a church and you're going to throw the great event, it just doesn't feel much about being with Jesus.
Yeah.
And so, if the incarnation was a reminder that Jesus actually enters into our world and in a way never left. And what I mean by, so the ascension, but the Spirit's here.
Yeah.
Corey's question reminds me, or gets me thinking about how actually like disconnected we can get from that reality. And sometimes I feel Christmas is almost one of the hardest. I mean, how many people do you really know, like families you really know, that where Christmas is mostly, a contemplation of Jesus?
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
What does it mean to live a life of faith? What does it mean to live as a Catholic Christian? Hi, this is Bishop Kevin Sweeney, host of the podcast Beyond the Beacon. Join me as we unravel and discuss the mysteries of our faith, of the church, of living as Catholic Christians. Be inspired by engaging interviews with priests and seminarians, deacons, religious, women and men who live the life of faith day by day here in our Diocese of Patterson, in food pantries and classrooms and parishes and ministry. How is God working in their lives today? How is God working in our lives? Join me as I ask them and be part of the conversation on Beyond the Beacon. Listen and follow Beyond the Beacon wherever you get your podcasts, or watch it on my YouTube channel. Please check the show notes for more details. Thank you and God bless you.
Well, I used to really not feel like that were true.
Yeah, more so now.
Not because of people's behavior changing. I think what I have found is that Christmas, like for this Sunday, for us, we just have a candlelight service the Sunday before Christmas. And to sit there with, 100 plus people singing and thinking, like, the only reason we're all bound here, like, I'm bound to these people through spirit, through the spirit of the Creator. Yeah, it's because this baby was born. Like, I'm bound here. So some of the call of it is to enjoy those people.
Yeah.
And I think that happens in Christmas. Like, even though maybe you just read Luke 2 and you pray, I'm bound to these people. And even in my family, I'm not bound to all of, I would be bound like this if I wasn't a follower of Jesus.
Yeah.
And they weren't, for those who are. And so I think that's, for me, just that little shift has helped a little bit. Just be like, okay, I'm here. Jesus actually invites me to enjoy them, to enjoy what he's done.
Well, and the way Jesus has pretty explicitly told us we engage with him is when we engage others, and especially those who have nothing to offer back.
Right.
I mean, that's how he taught us to. I really, you visited me in prison, you fed me.
Right.
He doesn't say, metaphorically, he says actually. So there's that too.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't think that's untrue of the people in your church in general, but I don't think that just means, go serve the poor. I think it's the less you are getting in return, the more the presence of Jesus is who you're serving or who you're with.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, like, you know, you have Philippians 2 and you have this whole, like, Jesus becoming a man, holding the servant position, the lowest space. And we did 2 podcasts in our other podcast, the Healing City podcast, on tithing. And the second one has this conversation not so much about what you should tithe, but the question of what you should keep. And that's really, I have been pondering that a lot. Because the question then becomes everything that I have. I look at how much of this should I keep? And how much of this is I just need to give away? Yeah. And how much do I actually need? And I think that's different than thinking, well, how much should I give as my tithe or whatever? And that's been really helpful. Because I think that's what Jesus was like. Well, how much? Well, everything. I need to give everything for these people in order that they might be saved. And that's the invitation as well. How much do I need to give in order to, like, invite people to know Jesus? That's an interesting thing to kind of think through on Christmas when you're giving gifts to people.
Yeah.
So
totally. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was just, my internal thought process went somewhere for myself, so I'll put it out there. I was kind of confessing to another leader the other day, you know, the type of meeting that's the hardest for me. And that is the type.
It's the Faith Over Breakfast podcast.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Gosh, I just endure it. Yeah.
You do.
No. The type that's hardest for me has something to do with when I get a feeling. It's not any specific person or it can come, just out of nowhere. And when I get the feeling that someone sees something in me that they want or need out of me,
right?
And there is an unhealth in that I'm observing, and there's some of my own story in that I'm feeling. But those are the ones where, and where I feel like I have to recover afterward, where I feel depleted.
Okay.
And it just made me, I was just thinking about that, and I thought, I wonder how much I need to contemplate, you know, that I'm experiencing Jesus's depletion there, you know, how much there really is a being with Jesus. And then that makes you think, how much do you need to embrace the thing that you don't like?
Yeah.
You know, that really, if those are real encounters. So if, to Corey's question, the answer was, what would I instruct people to do would be to go, if Jesus is here in our city being depleted, if he is here, do likewise. Join with him. Don't just go listen to him.
Right.
But not out there to the detriment of your soul. Like, do it because you're doing it with Jesus.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. I'll have to think about that more.
Yeah.
What do I do with that?
That's an interesting question. So I guess, like, if it is that we have the Spirit, you would have. I mean, it's the same answer, right? I mean,
right. Yeah.
Go join him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wow, this may be a shorter podcast than I thought it was going to be, Andy.
I am kind of going, well, that's probably where I need to let it lie and think about that.
That's where that's gonna sit. Well, I think
nothing wrong with that.
I think a nice, good, short podcast for Christmas, man.
Yeah. Go.
Christmas is it's less than a week away.
That's right.
And the traffic is finally
terrific,
looking like it's Christmas.
Yeah. Yep, it is. And yeah, I don't know. I'm actually looking forward to all the things this year, which is cool, I think.
Yeah.
And so that's great. Yeah, but yeah, the traffic.
Yeah.
Go home, people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I mean, I guess
maybe that's why there is so much traffic there. They're going home.
yesterday we finished our last Christmas present purchasing, so we're all done, and we start Christmas Saturday.
Yeah.
It's a whole new world when your children all work and they don't get time off because they're no longer, in school.
Yeah.
They have jobs.
Yeah.
Boyfriends and girlfriends.
My wife always has to work one of the major holidays, and this one is actually Christmas.
Oh, wow.
This year. So we've got to do a little
pre-Christmas celebration.
Yeah, Christmas becomes a bit of a relative as far as the day for us.
Yes.
With that.
Yes.
In play.
No, totally.
Yeah. Well, good deal. Good to see you, Eric. And
it's good to see you.
To everyone, thanks for tuning in for another year of Faith Over Breakfast. We appreciate you listening to our ramblings, and look forward to
next year
chatting with you next year.
You've been listening to Faith Over Breakfast with Pastor Eric Siepen and Pastor Andy Littleton. Please share us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you.